All right, guys, welcome back for the next episode. So in this episode, we are going to be getting the front end PPF'd. As you guys saw in the last video, what the team here did was decontaminate the entire car. And then we're going to jump back into the other bay to finish polishing the rest of the car. In a little bit, we'll probably ask Brandon why the new step has changed. And I think a lot of the reasons is to avoid contamination between the film. But yeah, we've been here multiple times. You know, we got the G80 done, we got the X5 done, and now we're gonna get the X7 done. And again, is it for everybody? Definitely not, but if it's for the ones that are pretty OCD about rock chips, imperfections, then you would wanna definitely look into this step. So check this out. What the team did earlier on the last video was to actually get this whole area polished. It was a one-stage paint correction. It was nothing crazy, and the condition of the car is actually in very good condition. Like you saw in the last video, we talked about some of the swirl marks. The previous owner probably ran it through automatic car wash, but you kind of have that spider web swirl marks. But again, my wife's not gonna be taking this to the automatic car wash. It's just gonna be washed by myself, maintained by myself. But one thing I do wanna mention, the reason why I bring it over to Hughes is that they do a method, right? And the method is bulk install on the PPF, because there's other installers that will do it, right, through all the 3D designs and cuts where you could kind of see the seams. In a light color paint like this, you would want to do it seamless, right? So you don't see any of the seams. Anything that could be tucked will be tucked. So when you look at the car, you won't see any of that. And the reason why is because on a light color paint, if you see a lot of the seams, what happens is you start seeing dirt marks. So I do have some friends that actually got their car PPF'd, and I will call them out on it, and you can see a lot of the dirt marks on there. But what I like to do is definitely get those seams hidden. And on my G80, the whole car is completely PPF, and there's no seams available to be seen. And if there is a seam, it is very hidden where it takes a lot for you to find it, because not every single panel can be seamless, but they do their best on making sure that it is at that point. All right, we got Brandon, man, the myth, the legend, right? A lot of you guys have seen the process of all the cars that we bring here. But one of my questions, Brandon, was why are we doing the film now? We haven't really polished the entire car. My thought process was to avoid contamination between the polishing dust in between the film, but what is your thought process with that?
I think a lot of it too just depends on kind of the timeline we have the vehicle. Since we're on a little bit of an expedited timeline with this specific project, normally how we would do it is we go through the full decontamination process. Depending on the amount of film coverage, we would do kind of whatever polishing beforehand. Now, if it was like, say, a full body wrap, yes, we would do kind of a light polish on the whole thing before we start doing the film. Or in this case, we're only doing the front with film and a few select parts. So we're just lightly polishing those parts just to clean it up a little bit before the film goes on there. Now, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Primarily just because of the timeline where we have with this car, we decided just to get the car prepped, you know, as efficiently as we can. It's just so we can get started on the film install today, give it as much dry and cure time as we can, and that way tomorrow, you know, we'll polish out the rest of the car and then coat it. So, I mean, yes, we could do it where we polish the whole car, you know, in one shot and go and then rinse it, but just for time reasons to get the film on there, you know, and have as much time with it, we just went ahead and did it a little bit differently this time around.
I know for me, I know a lot of your customers will wait an extra day. I know we have a short time frame, 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
Because my wife has no car right now with a under 2-year-old at the home right now. So thank you for Brandon and his team for getting this done so quickly. I know I always hit you with some tight timelines.
We make it work. So, I mean, there's just times where we just got to be able to adapt to the settings. And this, in my mind, is kind of one of the better ways to try to stick to that timeline and still be as efficient, because we have the detail team and then we have the film team, and we got to make sure we have enough time for, you know, both departments to be able to do their job properly. So right now we're just basically just getting ready to start laying our first piece of film. I have one of my other guys upstairs. They're designing out and cutting the rest of the patterns that we need for this car. But for the most part, we're just starting, getting ready so we can start laying some pieces. Yeah,
and I mentioned to the vlog that we're doing a bulk type of PPF style, because everybody could do it the traditional way, but the bulk is definitely where you could hide the seams.
Yeah, so a lot of it just depends on the panel. So for instance, our hoods, we use we more like custom fitted, so that would be the process of like bulking a panel. So we use one large sheet and then we fit it to, you know, use on the hoods. When it comes to the rest of it, we'll use like either pre-cut patterns or like modified pre-cut patterns. So when it comes to like headlights and trim, those are all, you know, standard pre-cut because it gives us pretty much complete coverage. And then there's areas that like the mirrors, the fenders, you know, parts like that we use a typically like what we call like a wrap pattern. So it is modified in a bit to be able to wrap over most of the edges. So certain parts are not completely exposed, but it does give us, you know, a good amount of coverage.
Yeah, and just to show you guys too, there's a couple rock chips here. Hopefully you guys can see that if I didn't PPF it over years, this will get just sandblasted, especially driving on the highway. You know, I'm sure a lot of people are stuck behind, you know, massive semi trucks. Those always kick up rocks and dust, and it could kind of get sandblasted, and slowly but surely you'll see pitting everywhere, which is, for me, it would drive me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it can happen on either the front portions of it, or if you're driving behind, you know, another car on the highway and there's a piece of road debris, and we've seen stuff like land in the middle of the hood, you know, off the windshield, things like that. So this is the most important part to be able to cover. So like I said, once you have this on here, you don't really have to worry about it too much anymore.
Yeah.
There will be wear and tear on the film, but it's much better to have it on the film and after so many years, just rip it off, redo it, than having to, you know, deal with it on the paint.
Yeah, and in a future video, we're gonna be doing the window tint on this vehicle. We're gonna retint the front windshield. I know when I first bought the car, I told them to take it off. It was way too dark. I didn't want something too dark for the family. But we're also gonna take this film off on the front window because we have no idea if it's ceramic film, and I kinda want the best for my family and also, you know, my wife. So we're gonna get that done. And we'll have Ivan here that's working on a Porsche, and they're gonna get that all settled. So while Brandon's working on it, you could see with PPF, you can't even see it, right? Once he's taken all the water and liquid out of there, you can't even see the film. It goes on seamless as long as you have a good installer. But you can see right here, he starts to work on this area, but this entire area is just right now covered in PPF, and you can't even see that it's still there. But this is the layer of protection that you would want, especially for any car that you value, right? Because again, sometimes people spend a lot of money on a car. For example, a lot of these classic Porsches or a lot of these newer age Porsches, you definitely want to spend the time and also money to making sure that it's preserved. But Brandon has this down. He's been doing it for many years. So this is like a walk in the park for him, especially this being a massive hood. And then you want a place that actually takes out the emblem, right? Because once they put the emblem back on, you don't even see, you know, where the seams are. I know when I first got my F80 M3, I went to a shop, which I'll keep nameless right now, but a lot of the edges, you were able to see it. You saw all the dirt, especially on an Austin Yellow, you could see all the dirt marks, which for me was absolutely annoying. This is definitely the part that years of experience, right, it's essential, right? So because if you're not bulking it and you're not making it seamless, you see a lot of the edges and the cuts, and I'm not a fan of that. So I'm glad Brandon's doing it this method, and that's the only method you kind of practice anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, we were able to do both, so I can do a mixture of pre-cut versus doing the custom bulk parts. So it's good to be able to do both, just depends on kind of whether it's a retail or wholesale job and, you know, just what the client's looking for. Some customers don't want anything pulled apart, so we have to learn ways to get creative of, you know, wrapping as much as we can, you know, by not pulling anything.
correct. I know sometimes you have like these really expensive cars, and again, this is probably pennies compared to some of the cars that you guys get, right? You guys have some of these rare Ferraris or even rare Porsches, and some of the values could go up to $400,000 to $500,000. So I get where some customers don't want to open, you know, take parts off or emblems. So I totally get that.
Yeah, so we have to be able to do a mixture of both. I mean, we treat every car the same, you know, regardless of however expensive it is. Just there's certain skill that's involved to being able to do, you know, whether you give me one of those cars or something that's a daily driver. I mean, we can be able to handle both and not really, you know, bat an eye.
Yeah, I've seen you guys actually do regular cars such as like, you know, Toyota Camrys or, you know, all the Toyotas.
We get everything. We get Ford F-150s that come in all the time. We get, I mean, BMW X series. We get Acuras, Audis. I mean, we get just a bit of everything.
That's good. But yeah, so the hood's done. They're gonna work on the panels of the quarter panels and then the rest of the front bumper. But definitely stoked to get this finally done, so we could drive the car and not have to worry about any more rock chips and things like that. We actually have multiple things going on now. We have the guys working on the PPF. Ivan's gonna be tinting the windows. And additionally, when we were kind of going over the car, I kind of noticed there was a dent on this pillar here. So we have the team here working on the dent. I know last time we used yourself, your name again? Royme, right? We used Royme last time on my G80 where he took out the dent, but you could definitely see right over here. This is something I didn't notice at the dealership, which is not a big deal, but he's gonna be able to take it off easily. This is nothing for him. So again, these are some of the things you notice when you buy a used car, but something like that's probably definitely gonna bother me. So we'll get that taken out. All right, so this is probably one of the most important parts of getting PPF is actually the front bumper, because most of the rock debris, road debris, and also the sand gets impacted towards the front. But one thing I will notice about this front bumper as compared to the previous generation, it's more intricate, right? The design language with the front end here, it's a little bit more moving parts because you have the split headlights right between the daytime running lights and also your headlights down here. So it does involve a little bit more extra steps, but I know they've been doing a lot of these X7s that roll in too, because the people that actually buy these cars, they actually care about them, you know, preventing any, you know, road debris and stuff like that to penetrate the paint. I think a lot of the times that Brandon talks about it, it's basically putting a sticker on a car, and that's essentially what it is. You're putting a sticker on a car that provides protection